Forever Young, it's not just an attitude, it's really a mindset.
Yeah, I think everybody can determine whether they're going to stay forever young. And listen, I've just happened to have an incredible role model in my life that I've been able to watch my mom defy defy gravity, defy what, society says an old person, an 80-year-old looks like, acts like, behaves, what they talk about, what they wear. My mom has just blown all those things out of the water, and she has been committed to staying youthful, having youthful friends, staying with a busy calendar, not just staying at home, always exercising, being kind. I think there's a formula, and just because with the advancing of technology and medicine and, supplements, and now that they're finding these things out, man, it doesn't have to be like it used to be. You look at, my mom is 80 years old, and she literally, I guess, looks 20, 25 years younger than.
She looks incredible, and I can attest to that because I did meet his mom on her 80th birthday. She looks incredible. She looks like she's 60-something. She does not look 80, and she is in shape. She was wearing like a sparkly jumpsuit. Like, me and Connor were like, I cannot believe she's 80. Yeah. She does not look 80.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with her spirit, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's such a kind, loving, thoughtful person that I think, being mean and ugly and, always complaining and a lot of drama in your life, it has an impact on your physical well-being, those kind of things. Your mental stress has a direct implication on your physical well-being. So you can see people that are happy, that are carefree, that are living life as it comes, not taking it too serious. Those people are going to have a youthful spirit to them just because of the way they approach life. And then if you add on understanding the diet, nutrition, and physical exercise, I have this premise. I don't know if it's right or not, but the two most important things for a person to never lose, to stay youthful, is number one, for some reason, we stop competing a lot of times when we stop being, young, right? Competition becomes not a thing. Now, not everybody, but a lot of people like, that was when I was young. That was that time in my life. I'm in a different time. Why is that, though? Because, I just got finished reading this book called Never Finished by David Goggins. And the whole premise of this book is that why have we let society categorize us in these age groups that say we're supposed to be doing something at this age and this age and this age?
It puts a cap on how much you can do.
Yeah. Instead of just looking at this as, hey, you know what, I'm getting older, but there's also, with age, there's wisdom. And so, when you're never finished, I think it's just more of a mindset. I'm not looking for a completed day that I've actually completed my task and finished. I hope that I can stay like this until I leave this earth. That's what the goal is. You're never really finished, because what do you do when you're finished if what you're doing every day is lighting you up emotionally and spiritually, and you're on your purpose? Why would you ever stop doing that? Like, it doesn't, because you get older. I guess that's for people who don't love what they're doing. They're looking to retire. It's been, a grind for however many years. But shit, I've woken up. I can't ever imagine stopping doing what I'm doing because I'm having so much fun doing it, So I think that's another part of this is putting yourself in a position where you don't have to compromise in life and do something that you don't want to do. Get in your purpose, figure that out, and then you stay youthful for the rest of your life, maybe.
So I was in the room whenever we did H2O. So we had H2O, Holly and Heather on our podcast.
Yep.
Great podcast. They had so many gold nuggets all through it. Like, it just blew my mind. And actually, one of the biggest messages that they talked about was forever young. And it's not just about your attitude. It's your spirit. It's your mindset. It's your whole well-being.
But listen, I didn't finish. My premise is that you have to compete, right? Because when there's a winner and a loser, you're putting yourself up against the wall where there's something that comes out in you when there's that line in the sand, man. It's like you are either going to accomplish it or not. And that's kind of like your report card at the end of it, right? So if you're always competing, you're always striving, then usually when you're competing, you're giving 100%. You're seeing what you still got inside of that tank. You're seeing how much courage and persistence that you still have. And it excites you, and it gives you a surety as a man that you still have what it takes, right? You still have what it takes to go conquer the day, to go, be that hunter and go, seize the day and make your wife proud and your kids proud because you're out there being the man that you were called to be. The second thing is ideas. The minute that you stop dreaming and stop ideas, that's what retirement means. I don't have to think anymore. I don't have ideas. Like, man, ideas keep you youthful. Ideas are a signal that you are hopeful about where your life's going, because you can't have ideas unless you're hopeful. If you're down in the dumps and all, there's no ideas coming into you at that point. You're trying to figure out, how do I get to tomorrow? Not how do I strive? Being, always in the place where you have dreams, you have aspirations, you have goals, you have new ideas, your creative juices are flowing, because when you're not in a good place, you lose that creative thing because you're in survival mode, right? But when you're flourishing, man, those ideas, if they keep coming. So this becomes a litmus test to me. When my idea tank isn't going, man, I got a little problem I need to figure out and check, dude. So ideas and competition, I don't know if it's correct or not, but that's my theory to keep yourself youthful.
Mike was actually talking about how he's 50 and he was doing the worm and breakdancing at a wedding, and actually Sahil Bloom had this whole thread, and I think you saw it too.
Yeah.
Talking, and it was like he got advice from all of these old people, and one of the things on that list was dance at all the weddings while you can. So,
well, that's one of the things that we're talking about too. Is like, when and I think part of it is like, you look at what your parents did, obviously not your parents, but like when you retire, it's like you do nothing. And what they say is like idle time is the work of the devil, or like, the idle mind is. So, and I think that's part of it. So, and I was looking back at, when my dad was 50, he definitely wasn't breakdancing at weddings. And,
Exactly.
And I really had said, I hung it up, like, because it had been like, 15 years since I had been breakdancing at a wedding, but it was my whole family that was there, and that's just something that they expect me to do. They said they could give a shit that it was, that now I'm 50 years old. Well, I'll be 50 this year. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do me. And everybody went nuts. They said, oh, good, he came out of retirement. But the funny thing about it is that I have another wedding in 3 months that they're going to expect. So I'm starting to train now because I really wasn't prepared. I think I hurt my wrist.
Listen, again, I'm going to use my mom as an example. I think at almost 50 years old, my mom decides to go to nursing school. She goes through nursing school. She doesn't get one answer wrong on one test the entire time. She's the valedictorian. She makes a 4 point, whatever it is. She literally never missed one question. They said that no one has ever been through medical school at this level. And she was in her late 40s, 50 years old when she went back to nursing school. So it just shows you, this has been modeled for me my whole life, that you literally can do whatever you want to do. There are no limitations. There are no age restrictions. There's none of that stuff. That's just what was instilled in me. So instill that in your kids because they remember it. I remember those lessons from my mom, and I remember that, listen, no matter how tough things get, you guys can always do that. But, you look around you and just see how many people, listen, man, I have my 40-year reunion coming up, and it's really fascinating to watch this, and I always wonder, it's not that hard to just make sure that you stick to a routine and maintain it. If you're not in good health physically, it's going to affect you mentally. It's going to affect you emotionally. Spiritually. It has a effect on that, and it's really, sometimes it kind of makes me sad a little bit, because I know I can just look at people and know they can't be living a real fulfilling and thriving life, man, just because physically it's just too difficult for them to be thriving, So I don't know why it's especially the weight thing. I think it's the food and the packaged food and all that stuff maybe is a real problem. I don't know, but there's a problem with it all over the place, and I can see this in my reunion. There's very few of my classmates that are staying physically fit, and I don't know why. It's just I still can't figure out why, because it's really not that difficult when you just make up your mind to do it. But I guess it's more difficult than it looks.
Yeah, I think that's part of what we talked about before yesterday, is that America tends to lean into the lazy, lean into the easy.
Yeah,
fast food's easy. Like, you don't have to prep, you don't have to cook anything. It's like it takes a routine and to see results, which doesn't happen immediately. And we're in a world where it's instant gratification. Like, if you don't know something, you just look it up right there on your phone, instantly you know it. Like it's one of those things, and I think that's why a lot of people tend to lean towards that because it's, even though it's easy for you, it takes routine, it takes discipline.
Yeah.
And discipline's one of those things that kind of goes out. But another thing I was going to talk about too is like Gary Vee's really, really big into your age group. Like he says he was, at what I think it was 29 or 39, or no, I think it was 29. He was sitting there still stocking shelves in a wine place. Like he didn't start. He's got one of the biggest ad agencies in the world that he started with nothing, because when he left his parents' wine shop, they didn't give him anything.
No.
I mean, and he was okay with that. He just moved on. He didn't cry about it, but he started over at that point. And it's like, so if you're looking at, like, Shannon's 22, I mean, think about how long you're going to live, 80, 90, 100. How many years do you have to do something really, really fantastic? How many business lives do you have if you think about that kind of stuff? So even at 50 or even at 57, I mean, I know we have a long way to go, because we're looking at what this is and we're excited about where we're going with it. And I feel like we're just getting our toes wet, and it's so freaking exciting about what's happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Having exciting, it's really, being youthful is just, it's a state of mind. It really is. It's a state of mind. It's, and that's it, man. That's what I think it is. You can wake up and decide that, hey, this is I want to stay in this mode. Like you get to a mode and you're like, this is a good mode, man. I feel good. Mentally I'm clear. Emotionally I'm good. Man, you can get to a spot. It's not like you're grinding all the time, because you get to a good spot, you maintain. Now, to get there, sometimes it's a grind, because you got to go make up for some past sins. But listen, man, staying in shape physically, I think, is the catalyst for everything else to be okay. Because if you have that thing hanging there, no matter how good you are spiritually, emotionally, you got baggage that you're carrying around every day, and it's a problem. This isn't about living forever. It's about being having quality of life. And so this is a question I have to everyone. I'm sure everybody would love to wake up and have this incredible feeling, like have all of these pieces of the puzzle put together. But it starts with you planning to succeed and actually taking an inventory. Listen, I want to be forever young. Does my lifestyle, does my behavior match up with those words that I'm saying? Because those things are just lip service if you're saying them. But guess what? There's actually a process to go through, and it's different for everybody. But it's about being the best you can be, physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. And if you focus on those four things, they kind of come together, they work together, and once you get them synced, man, you become, it becomes just, it's muscle memory. You just like you did those bad habits, it's very easy to correct things and be intentional and develop good habits. And you look up in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, you're back on the right track, and you have the rest of your life in front of you. You got to plan to succeed.
I'm glad that I'm hearing these things while I'm young, so I can start implementing these things.
Well, we're all young. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we're all young.
Forever young.